Understanding someone's feelings, especially when it comes to attraction, can often feel like solving a complex puzzle. When it comes to relationships, not everyone is comfortable expressing their emotions openly, and this is especially true for men who may be unsure of how to convey their interest in a way that feels right. In many cases, a guy who wants you but doesn't know how to show it will exhibit certain behaviors that may seem subtle or even confusing at first. These signs, although not always direct, can be incredibly telling if you know what to look for. Attraction is a deeply emotional experience, and many men find it difficult to be vulnerable, especially when they feel uncertain about the other person's feelings. This hesitation often leads them to display their interest in more indirect ways. It's not that they aren't interested or don't want to express their feelings. It's simply that they don't know how to do so without putting themselves at risk of rejection or misunderstanding. In these situations, their actions can speak volumes, even when their words fall short. It's important to recognize these subtle signs, as they can reveal a lot about his true feelings and intentions. You might notice that he acts differently around you compared to others. Perhaps he becomes nervous, or he may seem unusually quiet. Or you might realize that he remembers even the smallest details of what you say, even though you didn't think they were important. These small gestures can be easy to overlook, but they are often the clearest indicators that he's emotionally invested, even if he hasn't yet found the courage to make a bold move. For example, he might get nervous when you're too close or avoid discussing his feelings altogether. His behavior may seem contradictory. He wants to get closer, but he also distances himself in subtle ways, unsure of how to balance his emotions. One of the key signs that a guy wants you but doesn't know how to show it is his tendency to initiate contact in subtle ways. Whether it's through small acts of kindness, like remembering your favorite coffee order, or through the way he listens intently to everything you say, his actions are telling a different story than his words. He might not be ready to express his feelings directly, but these acts of attentiveness are his way of showing that he cares. It's important to understand that this kind of behavior is not a sign of disinterest or emotional coldness. Instead, it's an indication that he's trying to navigate his emotions and figure out the best way to communicate with you without overwhelming himself or you. Throughout this guide, we'll explore the 15 signs that he wants you but doesn't know how to show it. From subtle nervousness to more overt acts of kindness, these signs will help you understand the deeper emotions he may be struggling to express. If you're noticing some of these behaviors, it could mean that he's interested, but just waiting for the right moment to let you know. By paying attention to these signs, you'll be able to read between the lines and better understand the true nature of his feelings. Understanding these subtle cues can lead to clearer communication and, ultimately, a deeper connection. 1. He acts nervous around you. When someone is interested in you but doesn't know how to express their feelings, nervousness often surfaces. If a guy is nervous around you, it can be a clear indicator that he has strong feelings for you, but is unsure of how to act. This nervousness can manifest in different ways. For example, he might fidget with his hands, look away when you catch his gaze, or even stumble over his words when talking to you. While these signs can be endearing, they are also signs of hesitation. He may fear that expressing his feelings could make him vulnerable or cause embarrassment, so he tries to hide his true emotions. The nervousness he exhibits isn't necessarily a sign of weakness. Rather, it's a reflection of how much he cares about making a good impression. His uncertainty about how to approach you could stem from past experiences where he may have been rejected or hurt, which makes him more cautious in expressing his emotions. Recognizing this nervous energy can help you understand that he wants to get closer but is struggling with the fear of potential rejection. If he's constantly nervous around you, it might be his way of signaling that he is emotionally invested, but he needs reassurance before making any bold moves. As time passes and you interact more, he may begin to feel more comfortable and start showing signs of more confident behavior around you. 2. He tries to get your attention without saying anything. When a guy wants you but doesn't know how to directly express it, he may resort to actions rather than words to grab your attention. These actions could be subtle, yet telling. For example, he might always make sure to sit or stand near you in social situations, subtly positioning himself in a way that ensures he's within your line of sight. Another way he might try to get your attention is by engaging in playful teasing or light banter that may seem like friendly gestures, but in reality, they are his way of gauging your interest and keeping you engaged. He could also go out of his way to help you with something, whether it's holding the door open, carrying your things, or offering assistance with something that's important to you. These acts of kindness or attentiveness are often his way of showing that he cares, but he avoids saying it outright because he's not sure how you'll respond. The idea of rejection or awkwardness holds him back from being more direct. His actions will often speak louder than his words, and if you pay attention, you'll begin to notice a pattern in how he behaves when you're around. The key here is that while he's not verbalizing his feelings, he's making efforts to catch your attention in subtle, indirect ways. Understanding these behaviors can help you recognize his interest without needing him to explicitly say it. 3. He compliments you subtly. Compliments can be one of the clearest ways to show someone that they are admired. However, when a guy wants you but doesn't know how to express it fully, his compliments may be subtle, often masked in casual or indirect language. Instead of openly complimenting your appearance, he might praise something more subtle, like the way you carry yourself, the way you laugh, or your sense of humor. These compliments often feel less direct, but they are his way of acknowledging what he finds attractive about you without outright declaring his feelings. He might also compliment things that you might not expect, such as the way you handle a difficult situation or your intelligence. These compliments, although seemingly casual, serve as a way for him to show admiration while still keeping his feelings somewhat guarded. By complimenting you in this subtle way, he can express his admiration without crossing boundaries or putting himself in a vulnerable position. It's important to note that the lack of directness doesn't necessarily mean a lack of genuine interest. It may simply indicate that he's testing the waters, trying to gauge your response to his compliments, and seeing if there's potential for something more. Over time, these subtle compliments could evolve into more direct ones as he becomes more confident in his feelings and your reactions. 4. He gets jealous when other guys are around you. One of the most telling signs that a guy wants you, but doesn't know how to show it, is jealousy. Although he may not explicitly tell you how he feels, his reactions when other guys are around you can reveal his emotions. When a guy likes you, he may become visibly uncomfortable or distant when you're interacting with other men. This can manifest in subtle ways such as him becoming quieter, or even interrupting the conversation you're having with another person. He might act possessive in a non-obvious way, like constantly checking his phone or looking around to see who you're talking to. The underlying reason for his jealousy is rooted in his fear of losing you to someone else. Even if he hasn't verbally expressed his feelings for you, his protective instincts might kick in whenever another guy enters the picture. It's important to note that jealousy doesn't always translate into negative behavior. It can simply be a sign that is emotionally invested in you and may not yet know how to express that through words. He may fear rejection or that his feelings won't be reciprocated, so instead of confronting his emotions directly, he might express his jealousy in a more passive-aggressive way. His jealousy can be seen as a sign that he values you and wants to protect the connection you share. However, it's also important to recognize the difference between healthy jealousy and possessiveness. If you notice this behavior, it's worth paying attention to how it affects your interactions with him and whether he becomes more comfortable as time goes on. 5. He smiles more when you're near. One of the simplest, yet most powerful ways to tell that a guy wants you is through his smile. When he smiles more around you, it's often a subconscious sign that he's happy to be in your presence. People tend to smile when they're comfortable, happy, and at ease, and if he's smiling whenever you're near, it indicates that he feels good around you. It's not just any smile, though. His smile may be a little more genuine or warm when you're around, showing that you bring him joy. Unlike casual smiles that happen in day-to-day interactions, his smile when you're around may seem more intentional or lasting. He might even smile a little wider or hold the smile for longer than usual when he's talking to you. This is his way of communicating, without words, that he enjoys your company and feels a deeper connection with you. He might also give you playful smiles or inside jokes that show he's comfortable enough with you to drop his guard. Smiling is a universal sign of friendliness, but when it happens more frequently around one person, it becomes a more intimate gesture. It's important to note that smiling can also be a nervous reaction for some people, especially when they are unsure about their feelings. If he smiles more around you, it could be a clear indication that he's interested, but doesn't know how to make his emotions known through more direct methods. Over time, as his confidence grows, these smiles may become more open and less guarded. 6. He often finds excuses to spend time with you. Another strong indicator that a guy wants you but doesn't know how to show it is when he constantly finds excuses to spend time with you. This might manifest as him seeking you out in social gatherings, initiating casual meetups, or suggesting activities that involve just the two of you. He may even suggest group activities that he knows you'll be part of, just so that he can spend more time around you. His reasons for wanting to be near you might seem like innocent, platonic excuses at first, such as helping you with work, running errands together, or hanging out with mutual friends. However, these repeated actions are usually an attempt to create opportunities for closeness and connection without outright expressing his feelings. When he's interested in you, he'll often seek ways to be close to you, even if he can't articulate why. His actions may seem like coincidences at times, but in reality, they're his way of keeping you in his life, even if he's not yet ready to admit his feelings. It's important to notice if these excuses happen regularly and if he seems genuinely happy to spend time with you. If you find that he's constantly suggesting activities or events just to be near you, it's likely that he has a deeper emotional connection with you that he's trying to navigate. He may not feel comfortable being open about his emotions just yet, but these little moments of connection are his way of subtly showing that he values your presence and wants to keep you around. 7. He listens to you intently, even when he's quiet. When a guy wants you but doesn't know how to express his feelings, one of the key signs can be how he listens to you. If he's interested in you, he will often pay attention to the little details of what you say, even when he doesn't speak much. While he may not always engage in lengthy conversations, his silent attentiveness can reveal a lot about his feelings. He might ask follow-up questions or show genuine curiosity about your thoughts and opinions. For example, if you mention something in passing, he might remember it later and bring it up again, showing that he values what you have to say. His quiet listening isn't a sign of disinterest, but rather an indication of his focus and deep connection with you. By paying attention to your words, he's subtly expressing that he cares, but doesn't know how to show it more overtly. His silence can also be a way of processing his emotions, as he may feel overwhelmed by his feelings but not yet ready to vocalize them. This kind of behavior might be especially noticeable if he's typically more talkative with others, but becomes quieter when you're around. In his quiet moments, he may be reflecting on your words and trying to understand his own feelings. Over time, as he becomes more comfortable, this quiet attentiveness may evolve into more open communication. But for now, it's a way for him to show his interest in a low-pressure manner, allowing you to lead the conversation while he quietly absorbs everything you say. 8. He makes eye contact, but quickly looks away. Eye contact is often one of the most powerful nonverbal cues when it comes to attraction. And if a guy wants you but doesn't know how to show it, his eye contact can be telling. If he makes eye contact with you but quickly looks away, it's usually an indication of shyness, nervousness, or even a fear of being caught staring. When someone likes you, they may feel vulnerable, and direct eye contact can be intimidating. The moment he locks eyes with you, his heart may race, and he might quickly look away out of embarrassment or uncertainty about how you might respond. However, this doesn't mean that he isn't interested. In fact, it often means the opposite. He's trying to gauge your reaction without fully committing to revealing his emotions. If he's consistently making eye contact with you, even if he looks away quickly, it's a subtle sign that he's attracted to you and wants to get closer, but is holding back due to a lack of confidence or fear of rejection. The brief glance followed by looking away can be his way of testing the waters, seeing if you're open to his attention. As he becomes more comfortable and confident, this shy eye contact may develop into more prolonged and direct gazes, allowing him to express his attraction more openly. Until then, he's letting his eyes speak for him, even if they quickly dart away. 9. He talks about the future, but never brings you into it. A guy who wants you but doesn't know how to show it might often talk about his future plans, but curiously, he may never include you in them. This might seem confusing at first, especially if he often shares his ambitions, dreams, or goals. While he seems to be looking ahead, his avoidance of mentioning you in his future plans can be a sign that he's unsure about how to integrate you into his vision. The reason for this could be that he's still processing his feelings for you and doesn't know how to envision a future with you, even though he desires that connection. He may talk about places he wants to visit, career goals he hopes to achieve, or personal changes he's aiming for, but he hesitates to include you in those discussions because he's not yet confident about where your relationship might go. His future plans are very much about himself, as he hasn't fully figured out how you fit into that picture. This could be due to his fear of moving too fast or making assumptions about your feelings. While this may be frustrating or confusing for you, it's often a sign that he's interested in the idea of a future with you, but is simply unsure about how to take the next step. He may be waiting for the right moment to open up and share his thoughts about the future more openly. If you notice him talking about the future more frequently, it's a good sign that he's thinking long-term, but is holding back from fully including you until he feels more secure about his feelings and the direction of your relationship. 10 Here are the explanations for the next 3 headings, each with 450 words. He remembers the little things you say. One of the most meaningful signs that a guy wants you but doesn't know how to show it is when he remembers the small, seemingly insignificant details you've mentioned in passing. If he consistently recalls things you've said, whether it's about your favorite food, a dream you mentioned, or a personal story you shared, it's a clear sign that he is paying close attention to you. For him, these little details matter, as they give him a way to connect with you on a deeper level without openly revealing his feelings. He may not always directly reference these things in conversation, but if he brings them up at the right moment, it shows that he values you and the connection you have. For instance, if you once mentioned that you love a certain type of coffee, he might surprise you by getting you that exact drink one day, even without you asking. It's his way of showing that he listens, cares, and wants to make you feel special, but is not comfortable expressing those feelings in direct words. This kind of attention to detail reveals his emotional investment in you, as is actively remembering and cherishing your words. He might not outright say it, but is using these small gestures as a subtle way of expressing affection. It's also worth noting that his ability to remember these details may come from a place of emotional connection and deep interest, not just as a friend who's trying to be polite. His memory reflects his desire to be attentive and thoughtful, even if he's unsure of how to express his feelings in a more open manner. 11 He initiates conversations but never goes deep. A guy who is interested in you but hesitant to openly express his feelings may often initiate conversations with you, yet avoid delving into deeper topics. This can be a confusing behavior because, on the surface, it might seem like he's engaging with you, but he keeps things at a surface level. The reason behind this could be his fear of vulnerability or the fear of saying something that might expose his true feelings. He may start conversations with light, safe topics, like the weather, a shared interest, or a funny anecdote, but steer away from more personal or emotionally charged discussions. This could be a way for him to gauge your interest and build rapport without the risk of being too forward. Deep conversations require emotional openness, and if he's unsure about your feelings or is afraid of being rejected, he may not feel comfortable going there. Despite this, the fact that he initiates conversations at all is a positive sign. It shows that he enjoys talking to you and values your company. His reluctance to dive deep might simply be a protective mechanism, as he wants to keep the interaction light and easy to avoid potential awkwardness or missteps. Over time, as he feels more comfortable and confident in his connection with you, he may gradually open up more and start sharing deeper thoughts and feelings. His initial hesitation to go deeper doesn't reflect a lack of interest. It's simply his way of navigating his feelings while he figures out the best way to express them. 12 He acts different around you, but doesn't say why. Another subtle yet telling sign that a guy wants you, but isn't sure how to show it, is when he acts differently around you compared to how he behaves around others. If you've noticed that he seems more attentive, more nervous, or even more self-conscious when you're near, this is often a reflection of his emotional investment in you. People tend to act differently when they are around someone they are attracted to or care about. This change in behavior can be quite obvious. He may be more eager to impress you, more polite, or even more attentive when you're talking. These shifts are usually unconscious, and come from his desire to make a good impression or to subtly communicate his interest. However, he may not outright express the reason for these changes, which can make things confusing. His hesitation to explain why he's acting differently could stem from a fear of rejection or embarrassment, or simply from not yet knowing how to articulate his feelings. He may want to keep his emotions under control, so he refrains from openly discussing them. His behavior around you could also reflect his uncertainty about how you feel. If he's unsure whether you feel the same way, he may act in a way that's reserved or even overly cautious to avoid saying something that could make things awkward. Over time, as he becomes more comfortable, his behavior around you may become more relaxed, and he may be more open about his feelings. But for now, the difference in how he acts when you're around is a key indicator that he's thinking about you more than he's willing to admit. 13. He avoids discussing his true feelings. A common sign that a guy wants you but doesn't know how to show it is his reluctance to discuss his true feelings. He may avoid conversations that dive into personal emotions, even if he seems to care deeply about you. This avoidance can stem from a variety of reasons, the most common being fear of vulnerability. Opening up about his feelings might make him feel exposed or uncertain, especially if he's unsure whether you share the same feelings. He might fear rejection or the awkwardness that could come with expressing his emotions, so instead, he may choose to steer conversations away from anything too personal. For example, when the topic of relationships or feelings arises, he might change the subject or deflect the conversation with humor or an unrelated topic. This is his way of protecting himself from potentially feeling hurt or misunderstood. Even if he cares about you, the thought of expressing his emotions directly can be intimidating. His avoidance doesn't mean he isn't interested. It simply means he's struggling with how to communicate his deeper feelings in a way that feels safe to him. You might also notice that when the subject does come up, he offers vague answers or doesn't engage fully in the discussion. It's important to remember that his reluctance to share his feelings doesn't indicate a lack of care. Rather, it's a sign of his internal conflict and fear of being too open too soon. Over time, as he becomes more comfortable and secure in his relationship with you, he may gradually open up about his feelings. 14. He gets nervous when you get too close. When a guy likes you but isn't sure how to express it, his nervousness when you get too close can be a clear sign of his interest. This nervousness might manifest in various ways, such as fidgeting, blushing, or avoiding direct eye contact when you're physically closer to him. The reason behind this behavior often lies in his emotional vulnerability. He might not be used to being so close to someone he's attracted to, and the physical proximity may stir up feelings he's not yet ready to confront. For example, if you stand too close to him or touch him in any way, he may suddenly feel anxious, unsure of how to act or what to say. His nervousness might come from a fear of doing something that could ruin the moment or cause discomfort. He might worry about saying the wrong thing or appearing too eager. Alternatively, his nervousness could be linked to the excitement he feels when you're near, a sign that his feelings for you are strong, but is still unsure of how to handle those emotions. In some cases, he might even physically step back or adjust his posture when you move closer, signaling his discomfort with the closeness. This nervousness is not a sign of disinterest. Rather, it's a sign that he's trying to navigate his emotions and figure out how to balance his attraction to you with his fear of making things awkward. As time passes and his confidence grows, he may become more comfortable with your proximity and begin to act more relaxed around you. 15. He's protective, but doesn't express it out loud. A guy who wants you but doesn't know how to show it may exhibit protective behavior towards you without ever vocalizing his intentions. This type of behavior can be a strong indicator that he cares deeply about you, but doesn't feel ready to express his feelings openly. He might become protective in subtle ways, such as offering to walk you home, making sure you're comfortable in a group setting, or even keeping an eye on your well-being during stressful situations. He may also step in if someone is being disrespectful to you or if he perceives any kind of threat to your safety or happiness. However, instead of openly saying, "I want to protect you because I care about you," his actions speak for him. He may feel that expressing his protective nature would make him appear too forward or vulnerable, so he does it in small, inconspicuous ways that show his concern without necessarily acknowledging it. This type of behavior often reflects a deep emotional investment in you. His protective actions could be an indication of how much he values you, but he may not yet feel comfortable articulating that love or affection. It's important to recognize that even if he doesn't say it directly, his actions demonstrate his desire to look out for you and keep you safe. Over time, if the connection deepens and he feels more secure in your relationship, these protective gestures may become more direct, and he might be more open about his feelings. But for now, his silent protection is a way for him to show you he cares without saying the words out loud.